Hey Graham, how are you?
Hey, what's up, man? How's it going?
I'm doing pretty good. You ready to get started?
Yeah.
All right, so my first question for you is how did you get into racing?
So I got into racing through my dad, really. I mean, I've been a racing fan my whole life,
Yeah.
but my dad was the one that was kind of just like, "Do you want to go do this?" And so one day I just kind of eventually I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's try it out." And it's all just spiraled from there.
Okay. How have you gotten to such a high level at such a young age?
The biggest thing is who you know, 100% who you know, and expanding that network that you have. And for example, I go out to Road Atlanta, which is my local track. I go out there all the time, just trying to talk to people and introduce myself and get teams to know me and doing favors for teams and stuff like that. And the funding is a absolutely huge part of it,
Yeah.
but a lot of teams will not take you even if you have the funding, just because that's how they run their program. Is they don't want to take somebody who's gonna put a bad look in their program. So I mean, obviously there are teams that are going to take money because money is money, but
Yeah.
I think making yourself well known and expanding your network is absolutely a huge part.
Okay. What is your favorite type of car that you have ever raced?
Ooh, that's tough. I really like the Arca. The Arca car is really, really fun, especially on a road course. I've never driven an oval before,
Yeah.
so I don't know how they are on an oval, but on a road course, it's pretty dang fun.
Are you hoping to do more ovals, short tracks in the future?
So that's the plan, and this is something that's been really the hottest topic of discussion with me
Yeah.
recently. And I've been talking to a bunch of different people, just getting advice, and as I said earlier, making connections and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And so the stock car world and the NASCAR world is definitely my interest at the moment. And so the goal is to just kind of ease myself into the road course or the oval stuff because I'm already at a good point on the road course stuff to where I don't have to lean in on that, but I
Yeah.
still have it as an alternative if I want to go and switch to the IMSA route if I think I'll be better there.
Okay. What are some of the big differences between Trans Am and an Arca car?
Definitely the weight 100%. And it's not even that much of a weight difference, really. I think it's only about 500 pounds,
Yeah.
but just the power application and the weight is definitely the hardest part to kind of figure out. And the Trans Am car, I tell people a lot, it drives like a big go-kart with a V8, and it's basically just a shifter cart, really. And whereas the Arca car, you've got to work the gears and you've got to turn it in hard and it drives like a boat pretty much versus the Trans Am car, it's much lighter. You have all that downforce and you can just kind of zip it through the corners.
Yeah. Okay. What adjustments did you make from your first ARCA race to the second?
Well, the first ARCA race was tough because I had never driven the car before, except
Yeah.
for doing a crap ton of laps with it on iRacing. And so I just kind of jumped in there and I was just like, I'm just gonna go out and learn the car. And when I was driving that race, I drove for Fast Track in the O1 and we had some issues in practice, so I only got a few laps there, and I was basically jumping into the race with no experience.
Hmm.
So going from there and then going to Nitro, which obviously is a much bigger program and a much more well-established program,
Yeah.
I'll say, is definitely a big jump. And the guys at Fast Track do a great job, and they're a great team. But I mean, they don't compete with the Nitro cars, and that's just how it is. That's how Arca is.
Oh, so how much can you actually take from iRacing and put it into like driving an actual car?
This is a hot take, but I tell people a lot. You can take a lot from iRacing, and I don't think it's just the driving. I think a lot of it is the racing itself and the racecraft and having that kind of peripheral vision, I'd say, and that feel for the cars around you. And you're really able to know, like, this is when I'm clear if I'm passing somebody down a straight or something like that. Or it's really easy. I think the biggest impact for me is being able to tell when a wreck is going to happen.
Okay.
And so, for example, on Saturday, on that first lap, very first lap, for like green flag of the race, when I saw the 15 car go deep and braking, I knew that the 15 and the 25 were going to hit in turn one. And so I stayed all the way far to the right as I could to try to avoid it. And I ended up getting the lead off of that. And that's just something that I kind of learned from, battling in all those crappy lobbies on
Yeah.
iRacing is when people are going to wreck and how to tell the signs of when people are going to wreck. And then a lot of it too is like the driving and being able to do so many laps and so many laps at a track and so many laps in a car. And the cars aren't always the most accurate, but the tracks are definitely very accurate. And it's nice to be able to go home after school and just kind of get on the simulator. And that's
Hmm.
basically my practice versus other sports. You got to actually go and practice and stuff like that. But here I can just jump on the sim for a few hours to learn a track, and that's my practice.
How big is your setup like actually? Is it just one screen or do you have the all the way around ones?
I'll send you a picture of it. I have triple monitors, and then it's just other than that, it's just like a basic wheel and pedals. That it's Moza. I don't know exactly what base it is, but it's a Moza base formula, like open wheel kind of steering wheel. And that's pretty much it. I use that for everything. So that's probably why I'm so bad at dirt oval, is because I use a formula car wheel for that.
Okay. What is your favorite track that you've raced at in any level?
Road Atlanta for sure. Road Atlanta, I mean, it's my home track.
Yep.
It's very, very special place to me. And just doing so many laps there and going there so much, it just every single lap I do, it gets better. So definitely Road Atlanta. There's so many unique characteristics of it, I'll say. And something I tell a lot of people is there's not a single turn at Road Atlanta that you'll find anywhere else. I mean, every single corner on that track is unique, and you have to approach it differently with the elevation and the camber of the turns and the curbing and all that stuff. It's just super unique and super challenging. So I really like that. I really like Road Atlanta.
Okay. Makes sense. Is there a particular driver that you've looked up to or learned from throughout your career?
So I've had a lot of mentors throughout my career so far, and I mean, I only got into racing cars middle of last year. So in that short amount of time, I've had a bunch of really great guys: Stanton Barrett, Rafa Matos, Scott Lagacy, Nick Tucker, all these guys, and that's only about half of them. So all these guys that have helped me out just a tremendous amount with everything. And it's not even just the racing; it's just the um, advice part and stuff too. And I talked a lot with Louis Delatras, the Cadillac GTP driver, about all the IMSA stuff, and then I've got some guys I talked to on the NASCAR side and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and that's really helped a lot. But if there's one driver that I've looked up to my whole career, I'd have to say it's Kyle Busch. And I remember watching. I'll actually go and grab it really quick because it's right over here. But I've had this Hot Wheel for
Oh,
probably
okay.
10 years now or something like that. But I mean, I've had that since I was 6 years old or something like that. And actually, that's a Gen 5. So I don't know when the Gen 5s ended. I think it was like 2011 or 2010. But yeah, so I just remember watching YouTube videos of him all the time and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So
Growing up, you're obviously a big NASCAR fan. Did you ever think that you would be where you are today?
absolutely not. And I mean, I never really was a huge NASCAR fan. I was just kind of a fan of like cars and racing
Okay.
in general. So, I mean, I knew, of course, some of the drivers and the different series and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but I never really like sat down and followed whole seasons like that. So, I mean, it's crazy. That was one of the first things that came to my mind yesterday and, or sorry, Saturday is, I mean, I'm like, dude, I'm leading a NASCAR race right now. I mean, like, if you were to tell me this even 5 years ago, I would have called you crazy. So it's pretty wild.
Yeah. Uh, what has your biggest career achievement you would say so far have been? Would it be leading the NASCAR race, or do you have a different one that comes to mind immediately?
I mean, it's been a pretty crappy year so far with just bad luck pretty much everywhere and, mechanical problems. And when I don't have issues, then I screw up somehow and all that stuff. But definitely winning the TA2 West race was a big highlight. I remember my first race in a GT4 car, which was the first race car I ever drove, actually, was an old BMW GT4 car. It was a 2019.
Okay.
Um, I got pole at HSR in that, and that was a pretty big moment because that was the first time in my career that I really proved something and that I didn't just have like, testing times or
Yeah.
lap times to go beat, and I was actually doing it in a competitive scene. So there haven't been a lot of moments like that. It's been pretty tough, but yeah, those are just a couple of them.
Do you want to like give us a breakdown of your race from Saturday? Like what went well, what you think didn't?
Yeah. So the start of the race, I was originally starting fifth, and then Ethan told me he had to drop back, which I didn't find that out until we were on grid. And so the entire time during the national anthem, I'm kind of rethinking my entire race strategy. But I had a feeling that something was going to happen with the two cars up front. I mean, the 15 car, I don't think she had ever started from the front row before. And then the 25 car, he's always just been super aggressive. Nothing against him. That's just his driving style.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of had it in my mind that something was going to happen here. But I just wanted to settle in, find a rhythm. And I guess on the first few laps, that rhythm was in first. So I got to lead the laps. I got to set the pace, which was really nice because I got to save my tires how I wanted to. And then the caution came out. I think it was lap 6 or maybe lap 7. Um, and from there, I knew the 25 car was right behind me because he was in third. And so I let him through on the first race start. And of course, he goes and gaps the field. And I'm like, I don't really care if he gets a 10-second lead because at the end of the day, there's going to be 5 cautions and they're just going to bring us right back towards each
Yeah.
other. And I'm going to have better tires. So, excuse me. That was kind of my whole plan throughout the race was just to sit in that first through third area and just kind of save all my stuff until the last 15, 20 laps and then really go hammer it from there. But the sun was the biggest challenge of that race and
Okay.
I didn't expect it. I don't think anybody else expected it, but as soon as the sun set, it was right on the front straight and I have a really dark visor and I could not see anything. I couldn't even see the cars in front of me. So on all the race restarts, I ended up braking 100 feet, 50 feet earlier than I should be. And
Okay.
so that screwed me up. And I don't think there was a restart where I kept my position. I think I lost at least 2 on every single restart. So that kind of screwed me up for the entire race. And that eventually led to me being in a bad spot on the last restart. And then I ended up getting turned.
Okay. How do you prepare mentally before climbing into a car for the race?
This one's tough. I don't really have a strong routine like a lot of other drivers do. I know I mean, I usually do. That's actually a lie. I do have a routine. I always pray on the car, and then I always hit the car once, no matter what it is, whether it's a go kart or if it's an Arca or a GT car. I always tap the car on the roof once, and that helps calm me down a little bit, I'd say.
Okay.
And I don't get very restless unless I think about it a lot. And I think that's why I really like the ARCA weekends is because it's just one day, and so you don't have a lot of time to
Yeah.
dwell on things versus the Trans Am races where it's stretched into 3 or 4 days even, and so you have to go home and sleep on it and then think about it when you wake up, and you get tired over all those days. But I just anytime I get in the car, a lot of pretty much everything just goes quiet, and there's not much else I can do other than focus on the racing. But I try to distract myself a lot before the race because that seems to help.
Okay. Uh, at just 18, what has been the biggest challenge you faced in your racing career?
Probably just being thrown into such a competitive area so early on. I mean, having only started racing last year, I mean, I got into a car when I was like a week before my 17th birthday. So it's been just over a year now. And it's just, I mean, I did 5 or 6 races before, and then Stanton was like, "Yeah, I want to go and throw you in this Trans Am series, and then you're going to go run a couple ARCA races." And I was like, "What?" But it's been a really tough learning process. But for how little experience I have, and for how hard these cars are to drive, I am pretty happy with the spot that I'm in so far.
You ran 11 Trans Am races, is that right?
It's I've just run this season, and that's been it. So I don't know how many that is. I think it's 7 or 8.
Okay. Uh, do you hope to run more next year or full time?
So that's the plan. I can't share the full details on that yet, unfortunately, but the plan is to run Trans Am again next year. I think it's a really, really great series, and it's such a good platform for development because it drives. I mean, it's a perfect hybrid between a GT car and a stock car, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because you still got that stock car frame and all that stuff, but then the downforce and how you're able to roll it into the corners and stuff is a lot like a GT car would be.
Okay. Outside of racing, what do you like to do for fun when you're not at the track?
um, I don't do much outside of racing, honestly. It's pretty much just when I'm at the track, I'm at the track, and then when I'm not, I'm on the simulator at home. So, but I take school pretty seriously. I think that's something that separates me from a lot of other people is I'm still in public school. I'm going into my senior year this year.
Okay.
And so just doing homework, I find myself doing homework at the track a lot of the times, and just doing that all that stuff usually keeps me pretty busy.
Uh, are you going to college? Do you know what you're going to study?
That's the plan. I still don't know entirely if I am or not. It's tough. It all really depends on how the rest of this year goes and what teams I race for and all that stuff. But if I could go anywhere, it'd be civil engineering as of now.
Okay. And my last question for you is, what advice would you give to someone trying to get into racing?
Just talk to people. I mean, you don't even have to be racing to be at the track. And that's something I do a lot too, is I go to every single race that's at Road Atlanta, whether it's GT or some like stock like vintage race or
Yeah.
even like a track day. And I just go and I talk to people and I do favors for teams. Like I'll go and work on their cars and stuff like that and just help transport stuff for them and all that stuff. And just getting people on your side is a huge deal. And I've seen people get huge doors opened up for them just from that. And
Yeah.
um, like for example, there's this kid I know who helped mechanic for one of my friends in a karting race, and he did it for completely for free just because he wanted to be there. And now my friend gave him the cart for free, and now he gets to race for free because of that.
Okay.
And so I think there's a really obviously racing is really hard budget wise. I think that is
Yeah.
something that's what separates it from every other sport, obviously, is because there's no other sport where the barrier to entry is that big. But there's so many things you can do outside of driving to help yourself,
Yeah.
to help better yourself in that sense, that I think can help a tremendous amount. And whether it's coaching or, like I said, doing favors for teams or something like that, it's just all about who you talk to.
Well, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you for doing this.
Awesome. I appreciate you hitting me up, man.